Welcome to episode 8.16 of the Grumpy Brothers podcast. I am Chris Ludvigsen, joined by Ted. Say hey, Ted.
Hey, Ted.
Thank you to our listeners. Please subscribe and listen on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or Odyssey. Also, please follow us here on millions.co. Ted, before we start, we have to say a happy birthday to one of our best fans. You know, we've gotten to the point now where the three or four people that actually listen to this fine podcast can get a happy birthday
That's right.
when it's
That's
their
right.
birthday. So happy
That's
birthday,
true.
Jeff Gilmore.
Yes, it
Thank
is. Yes.
Thank you for listening up there in Pennsylvania. I'm sorry about your Phillies coming off to such a horrid start. I
Well,
see the look
yeah.
in your face already, Ted, with that.
Yeah. I mean, I just saw they put, not that they've needed him recently. Jaron Duran has on the DL with an oblique strain. So, but Wheeler's coming back. Okay. Yeah. Things could get a little better. But the Flyers won a game. The
Yes,
Flyers
they
won a
did. The
playoff
Flyers
game.
won a playoff game last night.
Yeah. Yeah. So things aren't awful, right?
Ted, we don't talk a lot of hockey, and we've gotten way off the rails in the first 30
Yeah.
seconds. But Ted,
Yeah.
Porter Matrone,
Yeah.
that young man can play.
Well, yeah.
And he gives them something that they have not had in a long, long time, which is a bona fide put the puck in the net guy.
Yeah, and Rick Tocchet's a pretty good coach. I mean, he gets teams into the playoffs. Now, they're limited. Even if they beat Pittsburgh, that's probably the end of the road for them. But still,
I was amazed. I haven't watched a lot of full games of Flyer hockey so far this season. But Ted, what I liked about that team last night was they play fast and they play feisty.
Yeah, they're hard. They're hard nosed. Yeah, they kind of play like he did. So,
but they're the modern version of Tocchet in that they actually play with something else the Flyers have not had for a long time, which was speed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I was like, wow, they're the faster team by far than the Penguins.
Last night they were. Yeah, I think Pittsburgh's got some guys that are long in the tooth too.
That's the other thing. I mean, between Crosby and Malkin, 5 years ago I thought, well, how many times are they going to play this back? And they keep on playing it back and playing it back, hoping for one big hit. But anyway, now that we've done our 5 minutes of hockey, and again, happy birthday, Jeff Gilmore, and go Flyers. Yep. Let's get to this fine episode today. It's all NFL, other than our little offshoot there to the Flyers. Ted, I do love the patch they're wearing with number 1 on their shoulder.
Well, they should. Maybe that's why their goalie's playing so well. Who knows?
There you go. Today we're going to begin with a preview of the NFL draft, which begins this coming Thursday night. Then, since Ted is our DMV correspondent, we continue with the ongoing saga of the Lamar Jackson contract situation. And then we're going to finish with something that Ted brought to my attention here recently, which is some interesting legal off-the-field issues with the NFL that could have huge ramifications in the sports world in general. Before we get to all that, Ted, what's making you grumpy today?
So yesterday, I'm running an errand, and I come to a stoplight. And I'm going to go straight. And there's a left-hand lead lane, right there at the light. And a guy pulls up next to me, and there's a lot of decals on it. I look at it, and he's our age, every bit of our age.
Okay.
And he's got all these decals on his car that say Safe Streets Driving Academy.
Okay.
He's like one of these private teach your kid how to drive deals.
Yeah, okay.
He's on his phone. Can't be. He can't be. He cannot be on his phone. I don't care if he's look, there was a parking lot around. All he had to do is make a turn. He could pull into the gas station parking lot. He can call anybody he wants to. I don't care. He cannot be on his phone. First of all, it's illegal in Maryland.
Yes, as it is in most every state these days.
Yeah. So he's got his phone plastered to his ear. He can't be. He cannot be. I don't care if he's getting directions to the kid's house that he's picking up. I mean, what's the goal here? Is he going to teach the kid how to drive and then get him on the highway and say, yeah, let's do 80 and order a pizza so when you pull in, it's ready? It's right. Are you kidding me? That's the kind of thing where you should be able to pull him over and say, all right.
I was going to ask if you were doing a citizen's arrest, Ted.
Yeah, you just want to pull them over and say, listen, you want to be a policeman in that instance and say, listen, I'm not going to give you a ticket, but you can't do this. You can't do this. You have to get a car. You have to get one of those little things, what WeatherTech puts them. You can get that. You can get Bluetooth. You can, whatever it is, you can't have your phone plastered to your ear, especially as a driving academy. Not to mention you're my age, which is hard enough just to focus on what you're doing.
Ted, I try not to be the litigious road rage guy.
Right. Yeah.
Yesterday, we were coming home from Raleigh. We saw the North Carolina Miller clan.
Yeah, right.
And Ted, young James, he got a nice squat going on, Ted. Left-handed hitting catcher, Ted. Left-handed hitting catcher.
He's got a squat. He's not even a year old. That's all he can
do. He's over a year old. He got a nice squat going on, Ted.
What is he, squatting over the can? What's he doing?
Anyway, as we're driving home from 85 yesterday, the highway was not that jammed, but there was a spot where there was about 5 or 6 cars all bunched together. And the motorcycle is riding down the middle of the
right. Yeah.
And you want so badly for the police officers, to wave the police officer and say, "Go get that guy,"
or to open your door.
Oopsie.
If you're driving down the middle of the road, I could certainly get out in the middle of the traffic. Hey, by the way, if James really does decide to become a catcher, he can either hit left-handed or switch hit, because the Phillies have a switch hitting catcher that's hitting 0.45. And the Nationals have an switch hitting catcher and a left-handed hitting catcher who between them are hitting about $182. So if he can throw, he's got a job,
Oh, Ted, don't even get me going. I finally saw somebody. I get these things online now about teaching proper catching techniques and the whole one knee down thing.
Yeah.
And I actually saw somebody, I don't know who it was. He came on and he said, the one knee catching thing is ridiculous. 1, it doesn't steal any extra pitches, which I've been saying forever. 2, the major league throwout percentage has gone from like 30 down to 20.
Yeah.
If you're Ivan Rodriguez with a bazooka back there, okay, or San Benito Santiago, okay, but the rest of us, get up on your haunches and explode out of there and throw down the.
Anyway,
okay, Ted. Here's my grump for the week.
I thought.
Here's my grump for the week.
All right.
A couple weeks ago, we spiraled out of control very quickly, Ted. We're 8 minutes into this thing, and we've gotten off the rail 2 or 3 times. But
that's all right.
Everybody says this is the best part of the episode, so.
Yeah, so what? Yeah.
There you go. Nobody listens. It's just you and I and Jeff anyway, so
right.
Jeff gets upset.
He can let us know. He'll let us know. Yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, Ted, there's also the 4th person, which is Mom.
Okay. Yeah, but she's not going to.
She can let us know. She loves everything we do anyway, so it doesn't matter.
She's not going to complain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So a couple of weeks ago, my grump was the pharmacist who preemptively asked if I was going to pay for a prescription with Medicare.
Right.
So Ted, the latest tragedy has befallen me in that front.
Okay.
One day this past week, I was in the office all week, sitting here working hard at my desk, and I hear a knock on the door in the afternoon, and I go to answer it, and it's 2 young men standing there, and they say, "Would like to speak to Chris Ludvigsen." Well, that's me. And they proceed into pitching me on their Medicare supplement plan.
Door to door?
Door to door, Ted. I've become such a target. I've become such a target that they came and knocked on my door like, "Hey, you old fogey."
Wow, I've never heard of Medicare supplement door to door. Wow. I'm sure you signed up for that right away. I'm so feeble. I'm sorry, son. I can't sign up so feeble. I need my brace to sign.
Huh? Can't hear you.
Slam.
Yeah.
It's probably some kind of scam.
I said, I should have said then, come get me at the Home Depot next weekend or the Lowe's when I'm buying my home vac system that I don't need. We can talk then.
Yeah. We get the HVAC system and the whole 9 yards going on. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Or when I go fill a prescription next time I go do
exactly.
That. Go stand at the CVS and we'll talk there.
Get it all nailed out. All right, here we go, Ted. You ready?
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh. Had all kinds of problems there, Ted. All right, here we go.
Minor technical issue, no big deal.
All right, here we go, Ted.
Yeah.
All right, so our primary topic tonight is the draft, the NFL draft.
Right.
And since 2000, there have been 19 quarterbacks selected with the first overall pick.
All right.
Okay. Each of those franchise has hoped that they've taken the man to take them from worst to first.
Right.
I was going to ask you the last time the Oakland Raiders picked a quarterback first overall, and that would be
what the guy from LSU or
the immortal LaMarcus Russell.
Russell, yeah.
Didn't work out too well, but Ted.
No, that did not. No.
Okay, Ted. There have actually been 3 of those 19, only 3 that took the team that drafted them to a Super Bowl. Now, none of them won that Super Bowl.
This is the number 1 overall
pick that took the team that selected them first overall to a Super Bowl. I want to see if you can get any or all of those 3.
Since 2000.
Since 2000.
How about Joe Burrow?
There you go.
All right. Who's lost Super Bowls?
And we're number 1 overall picks.
Big time quarterbacks who were number 1 picks overall that lost the Super Bowl. Jared Goff.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
there you go. Jared Goff. Yep, one more.
Well, no, they number 1 overall pick that went to the Super Bowl and lost for the team that picked him. Matt Ryan.
Good pick. He was number 3 overall, Ted.
Okay. Yeah.
The last one on the list is Cam Newton.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Now, Ted, there are 3 other first overall picks since then.
You mean Cam didn't win the Super Bowl? Holy cow. I mean, I'm just saying, he's
Hold on, Ted. He just got sacked again.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Von Miller should like have paid a commission to Cam Newton for every salary he got after that Super Bowl.
No, he's probably,
or at least the offensive tackle attempting to block Von Miller in that game. He should have gotten a commission. Ted, there are actually 3 other quarterbacks taken number 1 overall since 2000 that have taken a different team to the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
And actually 2 of those have won.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
You want to try any of those?
I don't think Darnold was a number 1, was he?
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Stafford.
Yep.
Well, we know it's not Dak. Just saying, we know it's not Dak. Number 1 overall pick that took a
different team.
Different team.
Yep.
And won.
Mm-hmm. This guy's actually won 2 of them.
It's not Russell Wilson because he was in the 4th. Won 2.
Yep.
You
forget that Eli Manning was the number 1 overall pick. That's
okay. Okay. Yeah.
And then Carson Palmer took the Cardinals.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right.
I
forget that he was a number 1. Yeah.
It just goes to show you that first overall pick. Like I say, I think you have to go all the way back to Peyton Manning in 1998. The last first overall pick to take his team and win a Super Bowl, I think, was Peyton Manning.
Okay, and he did it once. Right. Yeah.
So, if you were going to bet if Fernando Mendoza is ever going to win a Super Bowl with the Raiders, the answer would be no. So let's start there. I think it's about 99.9% certain the Raiders take Fernando Mendoza.
If they don't, they will be shocking the world, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes. Now let me start there. I'm not okay. when I watched him play this year, the first couple times I saw him play, he did not wow me. And I thought, why is he going to win the Heisman? And why is everybody talking about it, the first overall pick? Particularly in the playoffs, I grew to really like and respect his toughness. He's got just enough athleticism. He's got really good size. But most importantly, I love that he made tight window throws in big spots.
Yeah, the playoffs sort of, for the average person, because again, the scouts are looking at it in a whole different way. The average person looking at it would have gone, yeah, okay, I get it now, kind of, or should have gone, yeah, I get it now. He's not perfect, but he's in pretty, he's pretty good player.
He's not the prospect that, even someone like Caleb Williams has more physical gifts than he does.
Right.
And
or Peyton Manning was just sort of the guy.
The ultimate, I think, prospect that everyone said was could not miss was Andrew Luck, and he proved to be as good as everybody thought he was going to be.
Right.
There is a school of thought that says when you're as bad as the Raiders, build the team before you drop the quarterback in.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I don't think because I don't know that there's anybody else. There's nobody else worth moving down a couple of picks for. That's such a great player that I think the Raiders stay here and take Mendoza.
Oh, I think they're staying. The other part, there's two parts of that. Okay, so the idea that you can't, or that you should build the team and then draft the quarterback. That means you have to sort of pick a guy, or you're going to just go get somebody that's already in the league, right? So you're sort of eyeballing somebody in college for 2 or 3 years down the road.
Oh, to be hence what they did. And I like the signing of Kirk Cousins to be the bridge quarterback, at least for the first part of this season.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like if you said the other Manning, the Manning that's in college now, right?
The Arch. Mm-hmm.
If you said, okay, we think he's going to be ready. We want to see him one more year at Texas, right? And then we would try. But there's no guarantee that you'll be the number one pick, and there's no guarantee that somebody else won't take him, right? Mm-hmm. So you'd have to then trade up to make sure you get that. And I mean, it's what if you change your staff? What if you change your coach before you, and then we've built the team this way, but this guy wants to do something different, So.
Well, and we're going to get to that in a second, particularly with the Jets, because they've got a very interesting situation at number 2. Now, Ted, I've been listening to a lot of Todd McShay the last couple of weeks, and he does a really good podcast, and he's got a partner, and they're locked in on this stuff. And one of the things that has come out about this year's draft is that there's a lot of good edge rushers, which is a valued position. We're going to talk about the Jets in a second. But the other thing that's interesting about this year's draft is that 3 of the players that most scouts are saying might be the best players in the draft all come at what is now considered undervalued positions in the NFL. Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, is generally regarded either the first or second best prospect in this draft.
Right.
Sonny Styles, and Ted, I love this term now, off-ball linebacker.
Sure.
Okay.
It used to be the weak side. Yeah, but okay, whatever.
Okay. So Sonny Styles is proving to be the prototypical NFL linebacker in that he's athletic enough. He can play the run, but he's athletic enough to play the pass also. He's got freakish athletic skills. He used to be a safety when he came to Ohio State. Then the third best player is another Ohio State player, the safety Caleb Downs. So running back, off-ball linebacker, and safety are 3 of the least valued positions along with guard in the current NFL.
Right.
So this brings up a really interesting question of, for some of these teams, because there's not, assuming the Raiders take Mendoza at 1, once you get into 2, 3, 4, 5, the question then becomes, do you take the best player at a valued position, let's say edge rusher or wide receiver, or do you take the very best football player?
I think it depends on where you're at. I mean, if you have if you have a good safety, you're not drafting the safety, right? You got a guy.
But
you
Ted,
can
here's
never.
The thing. Let's focus specifically on the safety. Think about what Kyle Hamilton does for the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
If you could get if at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, if you could get that player, that incredible chess piece that you could put anywhere and virtually do anything with, how valuable is that?
Well, okay. So now you're saying that he may not play safety, and that's a different.
No, what
thing.
I'm saying
if you're
is
saying if he's going to play corner, that's different.
No. What I'm saying is if you notice what the Ravens do with Hamilton is they put him on the slot receiver sometimes. Sometimes they drop him down in the box to play run defense. Sometimes they blitz him. He's an incredible chess piece that because he's such a good football player, you can do anything with him. And from what I understand with Caleb Downs is, one, he doesn't miss a tackle. 2, he always seems to know exactly where the ball is going. So for someone like that, in the current NFL and sort of this positional football that people are seem to be going to, if you have such an incredible piece that you can put off the ball, on the line of scrimmage, blitz him, play coverage, it's sort of like having Shohei, in that Shohei almost gives you an extra roster spot.
Yeah, but at some point you have to fill a need too. So I think if you're, I think if you're the Jets, and I don't know they're, but I would take the best player.
Okay, let's talk about
because they have a lot because they have holes. They have holes everywhere.
So and Ted, in a perfect world, teams like the Jets or the Cardinals or any of these teams in the top 5, and even the Raiders, if in a perfect world, if there were other candidates, they would be trade down people because they have so many needs that you trade down and get more spots. Hence, one of the things we're going to talk about in a minute with the Giants getting another draft pick at number 10 for Dexter Lawrence. But let's talk about the Jets. Let's talk about the 2 New York teams. Okay, so the head coach is Aaron Glenn, a defensive guy, right? Assuming Mendoza's off the board and the Jets need a quarterback, I don't care how great Geno Smith is coming back home to New York. They need a quarterback. They need a long-term answer quarterback.
Right. They
haven't had one since
Joe Namath. Yeah.
Since Joe Namath. They had a little window with Chad Pennington, but that was about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I'm hearing is that they're going to take an edge rusher. And there are 2 candidates. There's Arvell Reese, the athletic freak who played he's another hybrid guy. Okay. But he has skills to be an edge rusher. Then you have David Bailey from Texas Tech, who is the best pure pass rusher in the draft. Okay. So you're the Jets and you have a choice. You can take this athletic freak whose ceiling could be the next Micah Parsons. Okay.
Right.
Or you take David Bailey, who's not quite as good athletically. He's a good athlete, but not quite the athlete that Reese is. But he's a one-trick pony. He rushes the passer.
Right.
Okay. So there's your choice, Ted. Do you take the guy who has the big ceiling but might not get there for a couple of years? Or do you take the guy that you plug him in and you say, okay, David, go get the quarterback, and he's going to get you 10 sacks next year?
How many plays are they going to play individually aside from rushing the passer? I mean, Bailey is he going to be sitting on the sidelines until it's
he's going to be an every down back, but you can't do as many different things with him. With him, you put him on the edge and he plays edge. With Reese, he can play off the ball. He can do a lot of different things. Well, because he's so freakish athletically.
Well, then you have a decision, I think, based on just their personal character, because New York is, kind of it's going to be a strange play. I don't know where either of these kids are. One's from Texas. What'd you say? Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. I don't know where he's from originally. If he's from a big town.
No. Where's the other kid from?
Ohio State. Arvell Reese is Ohio State.
All right. So
he's played in the limelight.
Yeah, I would. Assuming you don't have any issues with them as people,
right?
I'm going to take the kid because I'm the Jets and I'm not going anywhere right away. I'm taking the kid with the big potential.
Ceiling. See, now that's an interesting decision, Ted. I hadn't heard that because, they have these guys in for visits, but the fascinating thing is they just canceled the Bailey visit into New York. I don't know why they did that. But Ted, here's the other thing that's fascinating, or what I've heard, is that because last season was such a horrible mess and disappointment for the Jets, right?
Right.
And that Aaron Glenn, if they have another season that's as bad as last year, Aaron Glenn could be not coaching the Jets next year.
Oh, he would. Yeah, I mean, if they're 2-10, I would be surprised if he's even coaching at that point.
So the point is, if you're Aaron Glenn, you might be thinking, I love Avril Reese, I love the potential, but I got to have a hit.
Right.
I can't,
that's true.
10 games in, if they take Reese and he has 1 sack and they're 1-9, and David Bailey is with one of the other 2 top teams and he has 8 sacks.
Right. Yeah. I get that.
So there's a certain school of thought that because they need immediate success so much with the Jets, you take the proven commodity. If you put him in and say, okay, go get the passer, unless he gets hurt, he's going to get a certain amount of sacks just because he's just that good at going and getting the passer.
Well, I mean, then you're into who has influence in the room. Is it the general manager? Is it because if the general manager's tied to Aaron Glenn, he might be out the door too. And he's like, okay, Aaron, what do you want? And we do it that way. Or is he tied to the owner and the owner says, I want to, I know we're not going anywhere this year. I want to
get the best player.
Go get the best player, even if it takes him a year or 2 to develop.
Now, here's the other thing about this draft that's so interesting, Ted. And you've kind of touched on this, and we've touched on it a couple different times. So Arch Manning, coming into this football season, was expected to be the number 1 draft pick this year.
Right, this year.
He struggled. He got better at the end of the year, but he decided to go back to Texas.
Right.
Dante Moore at Oregon was another quarterback that was touted as a first overall pick. I didn't see it as I didn't think he was all that great, but anyway, he's another top 5 expected, and he goes back to Oregon. Now there's I've heard McShay and his partner Steve Mensch talk about the fact that in next year's draft class, the 27 draft, there could be 6 to 8 bona fide first round level quarterbacks in the draft next year.
Okay.
So what's interesting about this year's draft is that people are already planning for the 27 draft. Hence what the Jets did. The Jets are not going to reach for a quarterback. They're not going to take Ty Simpson unless he's sitting there early in the 2nd round.
Right. Yeah.
And they bring in Geno Smith to be the bridge guy for this year.
Right.
And they're saying, we want one of those top quarterbacks next year.
Right.
And even to the point, again, something interesting the Jets did. We give the Jets a lot of gruff for being such a horrible franchise. But when they traded Quinnen Williams, who I kind of thought, why are you trading him? He's a great player. He's legitimately a great player. You don't have that many great players. Why are you trading one of your great players? When they made that trade, the Cowboys offered them a first round pick this year and a 2nd round pick next year. Right. And the Jets got them to flip those, take a 2nd round this year and a 1st round next year, because the Jets want as much ammunition going into the 2027 draft.
Right.
To go get one of those top quarterbacks.
Well, that's good because that's thinking ahead. That this year 5 wins,
So it'll be interesting to see. Basically what McShay is saying is that the general managers that he speaks to see it as a cardinal sin for a general manager to draft a 1st round pick in next year's draft to move up this year. Because if you're a smart general manager, there's going to be so much to pick from next year. You got to keep your number 1 picks for next year.
Right.
Which is fascinating, of course, what Jerry did. Jerry at Dallas.
Yeah, Jerry doesn't think that way. Jerry's now. He's 87 years old or whatever. You got to win now.
And that'll be interesting to see. So the Cowboys have 2 picks, including one at number 12. and then they have one later in the first round, like 20 or 22 or something like that. I've heard some people say they think the Cowboys could be one of the teams that trades up to go get
a specific player.
Yeah, exactly. Which is everybody's saying there are a lot of good players in this draft, but particularly a team like the Cowboys need as many particularly defensive players as they can find. Don't give away draft picks because you need guys. You don't need one guy. You need 3 or 4 guys.
Right. Yeah.
Now, the other interesting news, Ted, is the Giants trading Big Sexy. My favorite nickname in the NFL, Big Sexy Dexter Lawrence, the 340-pound nose tackle, who is one of the best athletes at 340 pounds. So he is legitimately a elite interior defensive lineman.
Okay.
He has 2 years left on his contract, paying him about $19.5 million a year, but there's no guaranteed money left in it. Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, he let it be known he wanted a new contract. You heard Harbaugh say, we're working on it. And so last night they say, okay, we're working on it. And here's the way we've resolved it.
Yeah, we're not working on it so hard anymore.
Sort of like the Jim Ringo story from with Vince Lombardi. Go talk to the Eagles. You play for them now. So they trade Lawrence to the Bengals for the 10th overall pick. So they now have the number 5 pick and the number 10 pick.
Right.
What is your first thought? Did you like this? Not like it? Because I have some very specific thoughts about this.
Well, for the Giants, I like it.
Why?
You got a second top pick. You were going to have to give this guy a lot more money than what maybe you wanted to, or maybe, they may know. 340 pounds. He's mobile and whatnot now, and he's 29 years old.
He's 28. Yep.
And he's going to want a 5-year deal with guaranteed money and all this. And in 3 years into it, at 340, he may not be so mobile anymore. So, you would suspect he's starting to enter the downside of his career.
He probably has 2, maybe 3 elite years left if no major injuries happen.
I feel a little bad for him because he was. I mean, I understand why the Bengals traded it for him, because they let Hendrickson walk away, and their defense has been a problem for them the last couple of years. But for Lawrence to go to the one team that really doesn't like this is the being traded to the Bengals and the Cardinals when you want an extension are probably the 2 worst places that you can be traded to, because they're
frugal,
like,
Ted. Frugal.
They just don't like to spend that. They just don't like to give out. Now, the Bengals have shown with Burrow and Chase and on the offensive side, they've been willing to do it. And clearing the money or clearing Hendrickson, maybe it gives them the money to do this. Maybe.
And maybe they have and they've made some other moves in the offseason, bringing in other defensive players, and maybe they finally realized we can't win games 40-35 enough
every week
to be a great team in the NFL.
Particularly since they play outdoors in a northern, Midwestern city where they're going to have weather the last half of the season. So you kind of have to play some defense.
Yeah. So now, Ted, what I find fascinating about this is in the mock drafts I've read, the Giants at number 5, they love another Ohio State linebacker. And you now know why Ohio State defense was so good. They have 3 guys who are generally regarded as 3 of the top 10 players in this draft.
Right.
All defensive. Arvell Reese, off-ball linebacker Sonny Styles, and Caleb Downs. I've heard the Giants linked to both Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. Now, because Caleb Downs is a safety, a lot of drafts I had seen was Caleb Downs going 10 to the Bengals.
Right.
Well, now it's possible that Jim Harbaugh has come in and said, okay, we need a wide receiver, and we need probably one more offensive lineman and so forth. It's a very deep receiving class. Now, also giving away Dexter Lawrence, they now have a little bit of a hole in the interior defensive line because they've got Kayvon Thibodeau, they've got Brian Burns, they've got Abdul Carter, they got a lot of edge rushers. So they don't need an edge rusher. It'll be interesting to see if at 5 they take Sonny Styles to be the cornerstone of the defense, what they call the green dot guy, right?
Yeah.
And then at 10, they take Caleb Downs because Jim Harbaugh was just in Baltimore with Kyle Hamilton,
right,
one of those play everywhere safeties. Now at 10, he brings in Caleb Downs, and then he's sitting at 37. And there are a couple of defensive tackles, one another Ohio State kid, Caden McDonald, and then there's a kid from Florida named Caleb Banks who is this athletic freak as a defensive tackle, but doesn't play hard every down. Maybe they're thinking, we take Styles at 5, Caleb Downs at 10. We hope one of those defensive tackles is there at 37. And in one draft, we create a defense that can play with anybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does make sense because, again, you're playing in the Northeast. After Halloween, the weather can get weird on a regular basis. You always have to play defense. You're going to try and win games 20-14. You know, you may have to win. And it doesn't matter what sport you're playing. Defense builds, if you build your defense first, you're usually competitive, right? You may not go to the play, but what if the Giants win 8 games because they're a good defensive team, and now all of a sudden they're 8-9. Now you just got to add a couple pieces on offense, and now we're in business. And particularly if the Dart kid comes through.
Yeah, exactly. This all is predicated on Jackson Dart evolving into being a B-level quarterback and staying healthy, staying out of the blue tent. He plays a little reckless at times. But Ted, yeah, it's a very rich wide receiver class. There's a kid, I think, out of Georgia State named Ted Hurst that could be there and early in the 3rd round that, if they need another wide receiver. Malik Neighbors is a potential number 1. They need another wide receiver after them. They lost Wan'Dale Robinson to the Titans in free agency. So they need another weapon. But Ted, if they get Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, and a good defensive tackle at 37, that's going to be a young, good defense, and Jim Harbaugh can then just say, "Okay."
Well, Jim's
sorry,
still
John.
Out. Yeah. Jim might like those too to help out with what he's got going on. But yeah, I mean it fits what he does.
It fits the Harbaugh mentality.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna play defense. Now it didn't work out the last couple of years in Baltimore for a variety of reasons, but it doesn't mean it can't work with the Giants. So I think that's what they're going to start with.
If going into the last weekend the Giants are 8-8 and need a win to get into the playoffs after the last couple of years of abysmal football, I think the people in New York will be jumping cartwheels.
Oh yeah. They'd be losing their minds if that's
Yes. Of course, the smart ones would probably say, "Hey, let's lose and get the best possible draft pick." Because anyway, all right, Ted, let's come back to the DMV. And the Ravens are drafting number 14 because of an unexpectedly down season, missed the playoffs due to the loss in the final game of the season to the Steelers. Now, Ted, they were able to rework the Lamar Jackson contract, which had been sitting at a $74.5 million salary cap hit for this year. They've taken it down by about $40 million, which gave them the salary cap space to do the Trey Hendrickson deal.
Or Max Crosby, whichever it was going to be.
Whichever one it was going to be. Yeah. Okay. But Ted, they did not solve the Lamar Jackson contract issue. They kicked the can down the road one season because now, after the next season, before the 27 season, the Lamar Jackson salary cap hit will be $84.5 million.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think that's how that's going to play. I don't think they're going to play with that contract.
You have to be the greatest general manager in the world, but I think it's physically impossible to build a championship caliber team with an $84.5 million salary cap.
Not unless the cap goes up to $500 million or something like that.
So Ted, as the DMV correspondent, here's my question.
Yeah.
What is Lamar trying to accomplish? Is he trying to get himself out of Baltimore?
I don't know. I don't understand. I think to me, from the outside looking in, I have no, the other part of that contract is because it's restructured and not an extension.
Mm-hmm.
He is an unrestricted free agent after 2028. So you think that they're going to play for $84 million with the chance of him walking away after that and getting nothing? I don't think that's how the Ravens are going to conduct their business. My guess is that if they don't go to the Super Bowl this year, and they're going to go to him and say, hey, listen, we need to do the extension out so many years. You're going to get a little less money, but we have to, because part of this is, they got Hendrickson, but they lost the center. They lost their center, the Linderbaum, who went to the Raiders for a very high price, as I understand, one of the highest prices ever for an offensive lineman. So, the question you have to ask yourself, I think, is, does Jackson want money or does he want to win? That's the question. Does he want to win? Because if they don't go to the Super Bowl this year, and he's saying, I'm just going to wait and become a free agent in 2028, then you have to trade him.
Yeah,
you have to, and you have to hope then that. But there's two problems with trading him. One is he has a complete no trade clause, so he has to agree to wherever you're going to trade him to. And the second part is the other team is not taking an $84 million cap hit, because he wants to go to somebody good or decent, right? You would think. They're not going to have a space for an $84 million cap hit. Nobody is. So you're going to have to write an extension with the new team before you even trade him, like an NBA sign and trade type deal.
Lamar Jackson, to me, has very effectively painted the Ravens franchise into a very deep corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it doesn't, the only way that he's in Baltimore in the 27 season is if they at least go to the Super Bowl.
But even if they go to the Super Bowl, they have to rework. They're not taking $84 million hit. They're not doing it.
No.
I think they would cut him before they took an 84. I mean, I don't even know how that would work on their. I don't know if you cut him, does it?
Yeah, I don't know what the salary cap hit is. Now, Ted, he's originally from South Florida,
right?
So there was at one time one of the trading partners being discussed because of the whole Tua mess in South Florida was the Dolphins, but of course the Dolphins have since cut Tua and taken an incredible salary cap hit for that dead money. They then bring in Malik Willis. I don't see how the Dolphins have salary cap space to bring in any.
Well, how long is the salary cap? Is it 1 year on the salary cap hit?
For Malik Willis, I don't know, but the Tua thing is it's spread out over 2 years.
Okay.
So I guess you could try and move Malik Willis. You could
bring him back to Baltimore in the trade. You'd have to,
and then say to Lamar, "We only get $20 million in 27, but then you get your guaranteed $60 million the next 2 seasons after that."
Yeah, he'd have to work out something with the Dolphins, and he might be more inclined to do that since he's from down there.
Right, and Lamar seems, one of the things that he's made it clear is he wants a guaranteed contract. He saw the money that Deshaun Watson got, and he, I think, reasonably and correctly said, "I'm a better player than Deshaun Watson. If he gets a guaranteed contract, why don't I?"
I have no problem with. You should be able to guarantee a lot of his contract. Yeah, I don't think anybody's is fully guaranteed. I don't think these are.
Well, Deshaun Watson's was. That was the whole. That's the only reason he took the Cleveland deal.
But he's not. But he's not. Lamar Jackson is not going to get complete guarantee and a $55 million or $60 million contract
for more than 1 or 2 years.
Not going to happen. I don't think. I mean, maybe 1 year. Yeah, maybe 1, maybe 2. If a team has if a team has like Brady when he went to the Bucs that first year, where everybody else is either young or just hanging on and just has minimal contract, maybe then. Yeah. But are they going to win then? What's their chances of winning? Because you would think he would want to be on a good team. I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, he's painted the Ravens into a corner, but he's also kind of it almost looks like he's painting himself into a corner by, all these demands. And at some point, not everybody is going to be willing to or a lot of teams, I don't think in the NFL are going to be willing to, because it's pay a fully guaranteed $60 million contract because somebody has to do it first, but who's it going to be?
And one of the things is he's going to be 30 this year. He's had a share of injuries throughout his career. He plays a style of football that leads to the potential of injury.
Yeah.
His game is built in part on speed. He's a good pocket quarterback. I don't know if he's a great pocket quarterback, but without his incredible speed and elusiveness, he's a B quarterback, B minus, right?
Right.
So at 32 years old, let's say he gets nicked up a couple more years, and instead of running a 4.3 40, he's now running a 4.4 whatever, 4.5 40. If he's not that same player at 32 years old, if you're the Dolphins or anybody else, it's not quite the same as bringing in Johnny Unitas or Joe Namath at the tail end of their careers, but you follow where I'm going. You're not getting the same player.
Particularly if he wants like 6 years and he wants $50 million for the whole, I mean, he's not getting a guarantee for all of that.
No.
I just, and the other part of it is got to go to a Super Bowl. I mean, he hasn't gone. I mean, you can make all the excuses you want for him, but, he and Josh Allen have to start going to Super Bowl. Now, Josh Allen's got the contract. He doesn't want to go anywhere. That's different. But at some point, they have to go, don't they?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying win. You just have to go.
Yeah. And, of course, there was that play 2 seasons ago when Mark Andrews, the very, very good tight end, drops the ball. And
but that wasn't the game that put him in the Super Bowl. That was just a game to move him to the next round. They could have lost the next round too. I mean, you got to go. You got to have. I mean, that was. They should have.
And he's had a few stinkers in AFC Championship games.
Right. So yeah.
All right, Ted. Let's go to the last topic on the schedule for today, which is the off the field TV legal contracts issue. I don't know quite how to couch it, but anyway, let me see if I can get the backstory correct. Okay.
Yep.
In 2024, a jury found the NFL guilty of violating antitrust laws by selling the Sunday ticket as a high-priced package rather than as individual games. The jury awarded $4.7 billion in damages. I don't know quite who they awarded that to, but anyway, and that could have been tripled. The NFL appealed, and the antitrust violation is under appeal. Okay. Now, you combine that with a Department of Justice, federal government, anti-competitive investigation on whether the NFL media deals, particularly their streaming services, force consumers to pay too much to watch TVs, to watch games. Okay, now, the NFL and other sports leagues have had a limited antitrust exemption as part of the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 that allows the leagues to sell the broadcast rights to games altogether, in theory, to make them as widely available as possible.
Right.
Okay. Now.
And this is essentially the basis for revenue sharing for the NFL.
Right. So in the early 1960s, when the NFL plucked Pete Rozelle out of his marketing role with the league and made him the commissioner, he became probably the greatest commissioner in any sports ever history by basically selling all the teams on the one for all for one program that has made the NFL the king of American sports.
Because everybody's got essentially the same amount of money, and they can all be competitive.
It allows Buffalo and Green Bay to compete with the New York Giants and the New York Jets and the Los Angeles Rams. Right. And it has made the NFL that year-to-year competition and the combination of the salary cap has made the teams. You can be the Patriots and be drafting third one season and go to the Super Bowl the next year.
Right. And yeah, the schedule, tinkering with the schedule helps too. But
the balanced schedule,
yeah. But the revenue sharing thing is the backbone of all of it.
Yes.
Right.
Now, Ted, I read an interesting little tidbit about all of this. One theory is that the Murdoch family, which owns Fox, which of course pays $2 billion for their broadcast deal, could be the power behind driving this DOJ investigation, because they don't have a streaming option. Fox does not have it. So if you're Rupert Murdoch or Lachlan Murdoch, and you're paying a huge amount of money to broadcast games, and you've got the NFL going to Netflix and Amazon and whomever, whatever streaming service.
They're also, I saw this the other day, it was part of this, that they're negotiating with YouTube for a 5-game schedule. Now, I don't know what 5 games, but the other thing about the streaming schedule, and I didn't want to cut you off, but I think it's important to say that they don't the streaming games. First of all, they put playoff games in there, right? And the games that they show, they're not the Cardinals and the Raiders in November. The games they show are premier games that people want to see, that wouldn't in the past normally have been the big game of the day, right?
On
that
Sunday, on Fox at 4
Sunday
o'clock.
night, or even the Sunday night game or a Monday night game that would have been on network television for free. They're putting as many high-end games on those streaming platforms as they can. And that's a problem too. I mean, no, it wouldn't be that big a deal if the Raiders and the Cardinals were playing that level game was on every week,
Now,
plus they took wasn't Thursday night initially on like ABC or ESPN or something like that, right? And then they sold it to Amazon. So now they put that behind. Now, but that's the full slate of Thursday night games are on Amazon, right?
Yes.
And it used to be on ESPN or ABC.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was on. And Ted, I remember a couple of years ago, the first playoff game that Netflix had was the Kansas City Chiefs at the height of their dominance. Might have been one of the years they won the Super Bowl.
Right.
You take the number one team in the league and you put them on streaming service. That was almost like, it wasn't like they took the Jags and the Chargers if they were playing that playoff.
No.
They took the number one team and put them on streaming service in a playoff game.
At prime time.
Yes.
That was a night game.
Yes, it was. It was the infamous Freezer Bowl, yeah.
Right. So whether it was on Netflix or Peacock or whoever, you had to buy it.
Yep.
That was the end of the day. You had to buy it. Right?
Yeah. Now, Ted, let's play this out. Let's say through the Department of Justice investigation or some of these lawsuits or
before you get to that, think about it this way. This is why this has come up, because people are complaining. Nobody's watching every NFL game.
Right.
But they say to watch every NFL game, it's up to $1,500 to watch with all of it. Because once you go to Netflix and Amazon and all these things, a lot of like the playoff game or the Thanksgiving Day game or the Christmas game or whatever game it is, you can buy the game, right? Or you can sign into Netflix, but it's almost always it's $7.99 or $15, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And if you don't cancel within 30 days, then you now have it, now it's on, and now you're all of a sudden you forgot that you did that, and now you're on $15.99 for a couple months, and you finally look at your credit. Why am I paying for this? So that's part of it too, because a lot of people there are many people who probably don't have smart TVs who can't even do that. That's the one part. But there's a lot of people who, they might figure out how to sign on and do it, but they'll never figure out how to sign back at, how to cancel it and all that. And now they're stuck with, $21.99 a month for something they never watch. So anyway, go back to what
let's play this out. Let's assume that either through the DOJ process or one of these lawsuits.
Yeah.
That the whole TV, let's say the whole TV current contract or structure falls apart.
Right. The Department of Justice orders them to, they can't do that anymore.
Right. And it becomes, for lack of a better term, a free-for-all.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Do we think that the NFL owners, who've all earned billions and billions of dollars by being excellent business people, right?
Yeah.
Other than Daniel Snyder, I don't quite understand how Daniel Snyder was smart enough to be able to buy the Redskins.
He did something with marketing,
and then be such a complete idiot afterwards.
Yeah,
but anyway,
right, yeah.
By and large, the guys that own the men and women that own NFL franchises, are smart, elite business people, right?
Right.
And for all the guff we give Jerry Jones, he clearly is a pretty smart guy because, okay. If it becomes a free-for-all where local deals are possible, do we think the NFL owners, and let's specifically talk about Jer, do you think they'd be so benevolent? I can't say the word. Benevolent. To say, you know what? I know the Bills can only get this much for their local TV deal, so I'm just going to take the same thing down here in Dallas to keep an even playing field. Or do you think Jerry would then go and sign a TV deal, much like Notre Dame has, because Cowboys are America's team, right or wrong? There are a couple of franchises, and the Cowboys are one of them, that could literally sign a standalone national deal.
Right.
Do we think the owners are going to somehow say, no, let's keep the all for one, kumbaya? I don't think so. No
chance. Zero. None. No. Yeah. There might be, you look at like the teams in the Southeast, like Atlanta and the Florida teams, and maybe New Orleans might do a regional package kind of thing.
Okay.
Because none of them are super big markets out. Maybe Miami would be.
Well, Atlanta's a pretty big market, but I get your point. Jacksonville, New Orleans, Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, those teams could, and maybe the upper Midwest teams like Green Bay and Minnesota, but still they're not going to sign the same contract that the Jets and the Giants can sign.
Or the Cowboys or the Steelers
right. Yeah. I mean, or the Rams and the Chargers together.
Right.
Would be,
and LA, the NFL in LA would be a huge deal just in and of itself.
Yeah. So, I mean, it would be, I don't know if it would be the same as baseball, but it would be much closer to baseball, which, by the way, I saw an article that the DOJ is also poking around baseball's schedule or television deals as well. So, a lot of this could get really weird, because that's the worst case scenario for the league is that it's all dissolved, and because the league makes a boatload of money on this too,
And here's the other possibility. Is it possible that the DOJ, or through one of these lawsuits, they'd come to the leagues and say, hey, look, you're fine as long as you keep all of your programming on broadcast television that people theoretically get for free.
Right.
Once they go down to these streaming services, and it said, what's the old saying? Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered.
Yeah. Okay.
The NFL is so intent on squeezing every dime out of the economy because they are the king, that at some point you step too far and someone comes bigger than you, aka the federal government, says, ho, ho.
Yeah, you gotta pull it back. Yeah. I could see them saying one streaming service and broadcast. If you were to say, you can keep the Amazon Thursday night games.
Okay. Or how about this? You say you can have a streaming service, but the only way you can have a streaming service is you allow consumers to sign up for just individual games and not the whole Amazon or Netflix package. I'm going to pay $1.99 to see the Seahawks and the Rams on a Thursday night. But the next Thursday night when the Cardinals and the Raiders are playing, I won't pay $1.99 for that. The only problem with that is then Amazon's not going to pay $50 billion for that package.
Right. That's right. Because what you could theoretically do then, if you're the NFL and you want to stream games, much like this is what Rob Manfred wants to do, is he wants all of baseball's teams to stream through MLB and then have people buy the MLB package. So you could say, well, yeah, you can then stream our games, any game. Then you're not restricted to watching the game that's being broadcast locally. If you live in Washington and Washington is playing the Giants and you don't care about it because you're originally from Seattle and you want to see Seattle play Minnesota. Well, I don't want to watch. They're playing at the same time. I'm just going to buy the NFL package, and I can buy the NFL package and stream whatever game I want at any given time. And maybe the NFL package is then $200 or something like that. And then that's your choice, but you do get a free option here.
Yeah.
So I think what it amounts to is you cannot, is what they're going to say, is you cannot restrict people from watching specific games. You know what I mean? You can't just cherry pick the games that you want to cherry pick and put them on streaming, because the NFL is getting money from the streaming services too. So
big money.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they're probably going to end up having to either get rid of, if the DOJ really gets serious about it and decides that, this is too much for people. Because the part of it too is the blackout part. If it's on the local, like in baseball, for example, if the Orioles are on Masson and they're also on the Fox night game of the week, a lot of times they don't show them on the Fox channel because Masson is got the rights to broadcast.
Got the local TV rights.
So, I mean, I think that I think the only way streaming works for the federal government in that sense is that you'll be allowed to purchase specific game, or that you could purchase the league package, but then watch whatever game you want to. I don't know. I mean, it's very complicated.
I think the big net of this, as we've talked this through, is that I think someone in the NFL, Roger Goodell, all the guys who are on the TV steering committee or whatever they call it, have to take a step back and be a little introspective here and say, okay, guys, we've gotten too far out of our skis.
Yeah.
We got to rein it back a little bit, or else this is going to come. The house of cards is going to fall. If I were Roger Goodell, I'd be reaching out to the most powerful owners and say, hey, look, we got a big issue here. We got to rein it back so that we don't get crushed, because
we got a little greedy. We got a little greedy.
We were going for 120% when 105 should have been fine.
Yeah, right.
But but like I say, the someone who's a powerful enough business person, their attitude is you're either going forward or you're going backwards. You're not standing still. Right. So their attitude is we always have to find a way to make more money, because once you stop making more money, then you start making less money.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, there are a couple of bills already in Congress that sort of change how these things can. So I don't know if they'll manage to work it out before the DOJ and the various leagues do, but something's going to change. You're not. I think ultimately you're not that much that in the NFL in particular, that it will end up looking a lot more like it did a few years ago.
Which would be good for the TV consumer.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't see them, even doing something like they do in college, where you have the Big Ten network and say that's the NFC network and the AFC network.
Here's I think the solution. The owners go to the Players Association and say, hey, look, we're gonna have to get rid of the streaming services. So the way we make up the money we're gonna lose by that is we have to go to 18 games, go to 2 buys. That way you get 20 weeks of NFL football, and those extra weeks of football make up for the loss of the streaming services. We'll take away the preseason and maybe make it just 1 preseason game. Yeah. Give us 1 more regular season game. We'll take away 2 preseason games. all of that will make up all of the money, and we'll still be in the same, and we can then pay you
and we
an
don't have to
extra
worry
2%
about
more in salary cap money.
Right. Yeah. And we don't have to worry about, something like that's going to have to happen because it sounds like the federal government is not interested in hearing people call them about,
Yes.
hey, I've got to buy, 5 different, and those people watch too, it's not like they're, So they're like, wait a minute, I don't want to go
And
through all this.
we sometimes laugh about the federal government getting involved in sports, but if a politician wants a win,
yeah,
if you give your constituency more free football games, I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat, that's a vote getter.
Well, not only that, it's the money that, okay, look, you're not going to have to go figuring out
right
which service you have to buy, and that you're not going to have to buy 6 services.
When that senator is going out for re-election, he can go on his stump speech and say, hey guys, I just saved you $1,000 a year to watch your NFL games.
Yeah, right. That's right.
That wins.
Yeah, that always wins. Yeah. I mean, because, for the last few years, I imagine if you were in Kansas City and you were a Chiefs fan, that you would have had to, they were always on Amazon at least once, right? They would have always been on Netflix at least once. And if they went and the playoff game was Paramount or whatever, So, I mean, somebody could have had to buy 3 streaming services to, and that, right, it's just too confusing too. That gets the other part.
Ted, we talked about how if Rod Manfred would call us, we'd solve his problem. Roger, call us. Like I said, I think the 18 game 2-buy, take away and maybe give them a few more roster spots. Problem solved.
Yeah, right. I mean, because that helps the Players Association likes roster spots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so. All right. Let's go ahead and now that we've resolved that problem, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Let's do that.
Thank you to our fans for listening. Hoping you're enjoying these episodes. Please continue to follow us here on millions.co for these live episodes. Also, please check us out on our social media platforms. We have a YouTube channel. We're also on Instagram, X, and Facebook. You can email us at grumpybrothersports@gmail.com. And with that, we'll say good night, and we promise to do better next time.